As the kids head back to school, are you thinking about heading back to savings? It's the perfect time to refocus on your home financing with the Sharp Loan Team at Highlands Mortgage. With interest rates lower than your back-to-school checklist, they're here to guide you through financing or buying that dream home you've always wanted. Get tailored service that meets the unique needs of your family. Enjoy competitive rates that make switching a no-brainer. Access expert advice to navigate the complexities of refinancing or making your first purchase. And with their convenient online process, managing your mortgage will fit right into your busy lifestyle. So you ready to learn how much you can save? Join the savvy homeowners of the Triad who trust the Sharp Loan Team to help them with their mortgage needs. Refinance or buy, let's connect and chat about your savings plans today. Visit sharploans.com and take that first step toward better financial health. Remember, school's back in session along with the savings. Choose the Sharp Loan Team, your smart partner in home financing. Call them today, 336-575-9448.
This is a very special episode for a couple of reasons. One, we have two very talented musicians. I don't even want to use the word singers. You're both very good singers, but you're incredible musicians. And we also have our first repeat guest on the podcast. Kristin Schwecke is joining us today. She has an episode, one of our really early episodes of this podcast. So I'm glad we're still going to the point where we can have you on again. And Martha Bassett is with us as well. You may know her from the Martha Bassett Show live performances. That's been going on for how long now?
We're in our 7th season.
7th season. For those longtime listeners of different versions of this podcast, she was on an episode with Connie Quinn, the creative conversations with the Arts Council back in the day. But now she's joining us here on this episode. So welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being here. Today, I'm going to just kind of do a brief intro of this collaboration that we're going to talk about today. So Kristin and Martha are working together on an upcoming event in September. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I would love to hear it in your words about how the two of you will be collaborating. So Kristin, why don't you start us off?
Okay, so this is part of a collaboration that Piedmont Opera has been doing with the Martha Bassett Show. And so this is the second show of that series. And so I will be on the Martha Bassett Show representing Piedmont Opera.
Well, we are super excited about this collaboration because we don't have as much classical music on during the season. There are a few artists who kind of lean that direction, but I think this is a fun opportunity for our Piedmont Opera singers to do something outside of opera as well. And I hope you will also represent some opera for us too.
Oh yes, I plan to do just a little bit of
good
everything.
It's very special for our audience because they're used to getting more of a folk or
Yeah. I would love to maybe first of all just give the listeners that aren't as familiar or just want to know more about the Martha Bassett Show. You said you're in your 7th season, but how did it come about? How would you explain it to somebody that is uninitiated?
We host 3 artists per show. And my goal in booking those artists is to make sure that everybody is doing something different from everybody else. So we want to contrast and complement each other so that it is truly a variety show. Mm-hmm. I also strive to have equal numbers of women represented. Really, the genres vary a lot. We have quite a bit of folk and Americana, because that's really strong in our region, soul, some rock, some jazz. Really, our motto is good music for good people. So good music is what I'm looking for, and it doesn't really matter what kind it is.
Yeah, and so on the show, you will typically bring together 2 very contrasting styles of music, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we can have an opera singer with David Lamott, who is a singer-songwriter, and Mink's Miracle Medicine from a rock band from West Virginia.
Kristin, you're no stranger to performing in public, but have you ever done anything like this?
I think something kind of adjacent.
Yeah, you have.
Maybe.
You have.
Yeah. I think as an opera singer, in the current times of opera singing, we have to be really versatile artists. And so we are often asked to sing different genres outside of opera and classical music. So I do find myself singing a lot of musical theater and jazz and different genres. So I'm excited to show those different aspects of my musicality.
Have you ever featured opera or anything like you said? Classical is maybe more the style that this might fall into, but anything like this that's been featured in your show before?
Yes, we earlier this season we had another collaboration with Piedmont Opera with Joyner, and last season we had Jody Burns.
Oh,
I think it was last season. It might have even been the season before. That was our first time, and it went over so well. Jody was really great about being educational with the audience about the music that she was doing, and a lot of people came up to me and said, wow, I might want to go see some opera now.
Oh, good. Well, that's you know, that's the goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think our audience is really open-minded. They often don't even know who the guests are going to be when they come to the show. So that tells me that they're really open to just whatever we bring them, and they're lovely people.
I want to make sure I ask this in a respectful way, because I don't mean any disrespect by it, but how did you arrive at Kristin being the one to be featured?
Well, Kristin and I go back a ways.
Yeah. A little ways.
Yes, we both used to sing at Centenary, Centenary United Methodist, and so I've known her for a long time, and we've collaborated there. I also listened to the podcast where she was talking about voice teaching, and I engaged her as my voice teacher. So
from that episode?
Yes.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
And how has that gone? Please, I want to hear more about this.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I think we both had a really good time. Martha came to me last summer, just wanted to work on some aspects of her own singing. We had a really good summer just discovering different aspects of her voice.
What did you learn? I mean, I'm curious to know, how has that paid off? Where has your voice evolved from this?
I'll tell you this, in the shows after I had voice lessons for the summer, some singers who came to the show were like, what is happening with your voice? It's so much stronger. And
Yay!
I've never heard you sing those notes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So for all the other people that want to experience something like that, where can they find you, Kristin?
Oh, well.
Contact Piedmont Opera.
Yeah, contact Piedmont Opera.
Yeah.
It's time to get serious about your financial future. It's never too early, but it could be too late to get started. And that's oftentimes the hardest part, getting started. How much do I save? Where do I invest? Do I save for college or retirement? How much for each? And who do I talk to about it all? Okay, we'll keep things simple for now and help you answer the last one. We recommend you begin with a local financial advisor. And that's Jennifer Johnson of Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. She'll sit down with you for a complimentary introductory consultation and go over all of your questions. Get started on the path to achieving your financial goals. Visit 3magnoliasfinancialadvisors.com or call 336-701-1600. Get comfortable with your financial future. 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors. Retirement, financial planning, and investments.
Securities offered through Private Client Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors. 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors and Private Client Services are not affiliated. Private Client Services is under separate ownership from any other named entity.
I got your perspective, Martha, on getting the opportunity to bring Kristin on the show. So from your perspective now, getting that ask and the thoughts that you had when you first had the opportunity to be a part of the show.
Oh, I was so excited when I got asked. Martha and I have known each other for so long now. I have always thought how interesting it would be to sing on Martha's show. But I've always been, hesitant because I'm an opera singer and that's not quite the genre that the Martha Bassett Show goes for. But yeah, I'm very excited again to just kind of show your audience opera, but also the different aspects that an opera singer can bring to music.
How was it received the first time you brought it as a part of your show?
Oh, people were rapt by it. A lot of my audience isn't really a classical music audience, so I think they were surprised at how much they loved it.
Yeah.
Because people make assumptions about what they're going to like and not like. But live music, if it's good, you're going to like it, even if it's a genre that you think you don't like.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think that's a really important thing with classical music and opera especially. People do have a lot of preconceived notions about it, but hearing live music, and I think especially live classical music, is how it should be heard.
Yeah.
There are so many things about it that you just don't get from a recording. So having that live experience of opera, I think, is just like incomparable.
What are those misconceptions that can be busted by experiencing it live in a setting like this?
I think one of the things that it's just a very like uptight art form, and it's not
Right.
It's all about like raw emotions and feelings, and
I think they won't understand it.
right. And even when somebody's singing in a different language, I think if things are sung really well and with the emotions that it should be, it can really make people feel something, which is usually what we all really like about music, is what it can make us feel.
Do you have to present it in a certain way because it is a break from the norm from what the audience at your show might get? Or do you just present it as it's intended?
I present it as it's intended. We on our show, Kristin will do 2 different sets. She'll do a short set on the first half and a short set on the second half, and that's the same with all the artists. So every 2 to 3 songs, the stage turns over, and we just throw everybody together and see what magic happens. And there will be some collaboration too. My house band will back Kristin up on a couple of the songs, and we're going to do a duet.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited for,
too.
because we have sung together in like a choral setting,
Yes.
but never together, just me and you.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really fun.
That'll be a treat for sure. So how much rehearsing has to go into this?
We do it all the day of the show.
Just one day,
Yes.
before the show. That's it.
I will preface that by saying we know what we're going to do. We've picked out the music. We have charts, and we know what keys we're going to be in, and everybody will practice on their own, but Kristin will only get to work with the band the day of, and we kind of work all day. The artists come in on a tiered schedule, and we'll have about an hour to go through her collaborative songs and get sound checks. And
Yeah. And you're good with that? I know you typically rehearse more for a show, but it works, right? So.
Right, yeah. And I think as long as I'm really comfortable with the pieces, as long as I can come in there and just go through something once or twice, then we'll be just fine.
it works. We do this all the time.
Yeah, it's the nature of music. Sometimes you're just, you've done the thing once, and you know that you can trust it.
Yeah. Okay. Martha, I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, which is in your shows, you're very intentional about the representation of women
Yes.
in music. Can you explain why that part of your show is so important?
Well, if you look at venue rosters and festival rosters, you'll see that it is heavily male. And there are a lot of great women out there, and things are changing. Things are getting better all the time, but I really want to be a part of that trend where we just recognize all the women around us. And I am a woman, so I've experienced this. When you're playing a festival, there are often, or have often been, just maybe 1 or 2 spots for women. So the women are all fighting for that spot. And that's just not fair or right. And there is a lot more of women coming together in the last few years. I've noticed that a lot in Winston-Salem, helping each other and featuring each other, and different series going on right now, like Songbird Supper Club and the jazz
Oh, the Siren series?
Yeah, Siren series that Diana and Karen are doing. And Abigail Dowd is doing a similar thing in the Flatiron in Greensboro. So women are noticing that this needs to happen, and we're creating our own venues for ourselves.
So you're seeing positive results.
Absolutely.
Of late.
Absolutely.
Do you just attribute that to everybody kind of pulling in the same direction, or is there anything else that you think contributes to where this is getting to a better place?
Oh, I think we're all just sick and tired of the status quo, so we're doing something about it. I'm not kidding. That is exactly what's happening. We talk about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Kristin, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a really great approach, because also in the classical music world, it can get a little competitive. And I think if we start to come from a place of abundance, where there's a seat at the table for everybody and everybody has their own unique thing that they can contribute to music, then there is a seat at the table for everybody.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Let me take a step back with each of you. And people may have listened to the episode that we did with you earlier, and we got into some of your background. But for those that are hearing from you for the first time, what can you share about where your love of music began, and maybe the tipping point of getting into this particular area of musical performance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I definitely did not start out as an opera singer. When I started singing music, I started as a church singer, singing in the choir. I also sang in a children's choir in town, and sang in, school musicals. And then I started really getting into musical theater, grew up, singing country music. And so a lot of different genres of music. But as I was kind of dipping my toe into all of those, people kept encouraging my mom to get me into voice lessons. And so my first voice teacher was a former member of the Metropolitan Opera Chorus. And so I came to her singing pop music and musical theater, and she was so gracious and let me sing everything I wanted to. But then she slowly started introducing me to classical music, and it just, the bug bit me, and I loved it. And then she actually got me into my first opera, which was The Magic Flute. There are 3 roles for young voices, so I was one of the spirits in that show, and so I've been singing opera ever since, which I guess was since I was about 12.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Martha, how far back does your musical profession, your experience in music professionally, how far back does it go pre-Martha Bassett Show?
I was a teenager too, maybe a little older, maybe, 15 or so. I started making money doing music, if you say professional, Mm-hmm. But I grew up in my uncles were kind of famous regional bluegrass musicians in West Virginia. And I always felt like I knew I was a musician, and I was like studying piano, and I played saxophone in band, and I loved to sing, but I didn't feel like I was very good because my voice was low. And when I got into choir in high school, my choir director, who was also my piano teacher, kind of unlocked my classical voice. And so that was my first love as a singer, was classical music. And it was also kind of my rebellion, because I grew up out in the country, and I was like, I'm getting out of this little town, and I'm going to sing, something else that is not cool around here.
But you recorded some albums too, right?
Yeah, that was much later.
Okay.
So I was only classical music until I was about 30. And that's when I went down the dark path of jazz and swing, and got into some folk music and started writing and doing Americana.
Yeah.
And all of that. And also my first opera was Magic Flute too. Aww. In college. I was in the chorus. I was...
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you tell us then about when you got to the stage where you were recording and making albums, and what was that part of your career like?
It was a lot of fun. Before I started recording, I was in a swing band called Martha and the Mood Swingers that was very popular in the late 90s, and we just worked all the time. And in classical music, you rehearse for months, then you do a performance. And for the first time, I was in a situation where, we were practicing to learn all of our songs, but then you just go do the gigs and you rehearse when you're learning new material, but it's a lot more performing than it is rehearsing. Mm-hmm. And I loved that I was able to be in front of an audience a lot more than I had been.
Is that kind of take us to when you decided, all right, I'm gonna maybe transition into this phase that you're in now, which is the live performance part of it, and really accentuating that area of your musical performance? Is that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a decision as much as it was just something that happened.
Yeah.
But just being truthful.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. And I've always been a person who enjoys learning new things. Mm-hmm. So,
Kristin, when did you discover her show for the first time?
Well,
we've known each other the whole time that I've been doing it.
The whole time, yeah.
So were you involved at all in kind of this when this was formed? Like, what was?
But I have been to the show, and it's such a fun time. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to be on the other end of that.
Who's ready for movie night? Our friends at the Ginther Group Real Estate are proud to sponsor another season of innovation and cinema at Bailey Park in downtown Winston-Salem's Innovation Quarter. The next film is Barbie on Friday, September 20th. Bring your chair or blanket to Bailey Park for a great night of cinema from Aperture and beverages and food from a variety of local vendors. Pre-film fun begins at 6:30 p.m. and the movie begins at dark. These magical movie nights are made possible by the Ginther Group, the real estate experts we trust and showcase right here on the Triad Podcast Network. Check their social media for info on each upcoming movie night. And for your real estate needs, call 336-283-8689 or visit theginthergroup.com. Buying, selling, investing, or just learning. Whatever you need, start now. And like me, you can become a Ginther Group client for life.
Life is full of celebrations, birthdays, holidays, life milestones, and so much more. And who has been helping generations of families celebrate these events? Our friends at Dewey's Bakery. And even if you aren't planning for something in the near future, you don't have to wait to enjoy something savory and delicious from Dewey's. Maybe you just need something to get you through your Mondays. Drop by every Monday for a free Cake Square Day. No purchase necessary. Just come celebrate the start of a new week. So, if you're hearing this ad on a Monday and you're in your car, reset that GPS and get to one of their 3 Triad locations immediately in Winston-Salem at Thruway and Renolda Manor, plus one in Greensboro at Friendly Shopping Center. And any day of the week, you can find the perfect item with fast and easy ordering options at local.deweys.com. Plus, Dewey's does so much to help celebrate our community. To date, they've given back over $4 million to local schools, churches, and other nonprofits. Your next celebration isn't complete without something special from Dewey's Bakery. Dewey's. Celebrate every day.
Do you have any nerves about it? Do you get nervous in live performance?
Maybe just a little hint of nerves, because you never know what's going to happen in live performances. But as soon as you start, then that all just kind of goes away.
Yeah. You said that you have charts and you know what music you're going to perform, but there's very little rehearsal beforehand. How much improv happens on stage?
Quite a bit.
Yeah?
It's different. So the house band doesn't back up the artists on everything that they do. So Kristin will come with an accompanist.
Caroline.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. And they will do their thing too. So it's not like she's doing a whole program that's new and unfamiliar.
Sure. Right. Okay. And Kristin, what are you, outside of this, which is certainly a big deal, but what else are you working on right now?
Well, funnily enough, the last opera singer that you had join her horn and I are doing a show 2 days after
nice.
I sang at Martha Bassett. We're doing a jazz show at the Smith in Lexington as part of one of their gala events. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I also belong to a newer group in Winston-Salem called the Winston-Salem Choral Artists. It's a group, an all-pro choir that just formed last year, and our second season starts in October. So yeah, it'll be a good fall.
Yeah, where can people get more information about that?
I know that the Winston-Salem Choral Artists Instagram and Facebook are very active, and I believe it's probably winstonsalemchoralartist.org, but I'm sure if that doesn't come up, that...
Just use the old Google machine.
Yeah, Google will work.
You'll be fine.
And they're so good. I only saw one of your shows last year, but it was amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so we like asking questions about things that people like doing around the area and dream opportunities. And so I want to start with, Kristin, what is an opportunity to perform that isn't currently scheduled, that is still on your wish list of roles you'd like to play, venues in which you'd like to perform, different maybe a different genre of music you'd like to tackle? What's out there?
That's a great question. I have sung a few times at Ronalda, but I'd love to do some kind of recital there, which is a conversation that has been had. I know that I just have to think of the right idea because I love that setting. I also, for some reason, I think that having some type of classical music event at Ramcat would be a really cool thing.
That is.
I don't know what the perfect idea is for it, but I feel like it could really work. So those are two places.
I like that. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Martha, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question.
Okay.
Who has an open invitation to collaborate with you on the Martha Bassett Show? It could be somebody locally, or it could be somebody that's pie in the sky that anytime they want to come on, we will make it happen.
Oh, there's more than one.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
But Elizabeth Cook has been on the show, but it was pre-pandemic, and she has an open invitation to come back. I am a huge fan of singer-songwriter Jim White. He's been on twice. He's invited back anytime. So if you go to James Taylor's website, you can actually send him a personal message. And I've sent him one before saying, I know I can't afford you, and my venue is too small, but if you ever want to have like a surprise performance, I know you have North Carolina ties. He has not responded, but...
Yeah. Connie, you can make that happen, right?
I can make that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Connie. I will be in your debt forever.
Oh, we somehow, somebody out there listening, you've got to have 6 degrees of separation to James Taylor. And
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Really good answer. Okay. So in the Triad, what are some of the go-to places, whether it's hey, I've got a Friday night to go out and have dinner and do something, some sort of entertainment, or it just could be, hey, this is a place I love going to grab coffee, breakfast, whatever. Let's highlight some good local spots around here that Kristin and Martha like to frequent. So whoever would like to share first.
Well, I think recently the Remedy is a great spot for coffee or cocktails.
Okay.
That's right on Ronalda.
Okay.
Right where like Broad and Ronalda meet.
Yes. Okay.
It's a newer spot. So that's a really fun place for cocktails or coffee.
Okay.
What's the new space that's down on Broad in the south part of it?
There's like down where like east of Texas is.
Oh, I do love
that
east of Texas. That's definitely.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's right in that area.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like this little hidden bar. It's wonderful.
Oh, it's the Ginger Fox.
Ginger Fox.
People,
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's called something else, isn't it?
Might
It's
be.
also like a coffee shop
Yes.
bar,
Yeah,
right?
the bar is in the back.
I think they're called Easy Talk.
Okay.
But it's the Ginger Fox people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That place
That's
is
right.
great.
It is.
Okay. I love it. Martha, Can you share a little bit more about if people want to attend the Martha Bassett Show? We encourage them to attend the one with Kristin, which is on which date again?
September 19th.
September 19th. Okay, so we want you to attend that one for sure. But in addition to that, if they want to attend other performances,
go to marthabassettshow.com.
Okay.
And it's first and third Thursdays.
Okay.
And you can see the lineup of all the artists for the rest of the year. We have 6 more shows. And we'll start up again in 2025 in March.
Okay. And located where?
At the Reeves Theater in Elkin, which is 45 minutes from downtown Winston-Salem.
Yep. Not far, not bad at all. Any good spots that people could go to if they want to hang out for a little bit before or after the show?
Absolutely. So the Reeves Theater has a cafe, and they serve food until 9 o'clock. So you can go there, and they have great locally sourced meals that are like sandwiches and salads and soups. And Southern on Main is a little fancier Southern fare that's within walking distance of the Reeves, and I would recommend getting a reservation if you want to go to Southern on Main. And if you want to spend the night, 3 Trails is a new boutique hotel that is on the corner of the same block as the Reeves Theater. So you can walk there. It's really beautiful. There are only 14 units. And if you are going to the Martha Bassett Show, you can get 15% off of your stay there. So they've partnered with us.
Great opportunity to make an evening or an overnight stay.
If you stay overnight too, Fruition, a little cocktail bar at the other end of the block, is open, and that's where we go after the shows.
All right. So marthabassettshow.com, correct? Yes. That's where you find information. Kristin's appearance will be on September 19th. We just suggest you go every time because maybe you'll see James Taylor show up for one of them.
It could happen.
All right. Well, Martha, Kristin, thank you both so much. We're so excited for this collaboration on the 19th. Appreciate you being a part of the show today.
Thanks,
Thank
Adam.
you.